Hello everyone, welcome back to English 100. This is Mr. Gomez stopping by on a Tuesday morning to give you some pointers for the week. And I'll be talking mostly about two things, the schedule and essay number 2. If you noticed, I made some changes to this week 5 module in order so that you have some more time for essay number 2. That's all I want you to work on today. We'll need to submit polished and clear essays to our partners in the peer review tomorrow by noon. So make sure you have those ready. And another thing I want to point out is that I moved the due date for essay number 2 back to this Friday. Okay, that'll give you a little bit more time to concentrate on making a good final version of that essay. I also want to draw your attention to these two assignments here. I'll put those up in the morning, and they deal with the last unit of the course, the subject matter for our research paper, and that is achievement gaps for various groups in the high school to college to work pipeline. For your research projects, you'll be picking a group that faces achievement gap problems in our educational system, a group that you relate to, and you'll be writing a research paper on those. Okay, so that's the way I'll introduce that unit tomorrow. So take a look at those. And also, I want to point you to these 3 assignments here. These are research classes that you'll be taking. This is the primary method by which I'll be teaching you research. So I need you to slow down and concentrate on every class and make sure you don't skip any sections and that you understand the content. Now, these 3 classes you'll be signing up through PiratesNet. All the directions are here. Okay, you have to take a code and embed it just like you were enrolling in a regular class. They're free, but they do take a little bit of time, but they're very important for you to understand so that we could proceed with researching and doing an actual essay. Okay, so you'll have about 3 days to complete those, but the thing I want to remind you about is there's a little bit of lag time in signing up. It may take up to a day to populate onto your Canvas account. And if you're having trouble signing up, you've read the directions, you can use the chat feature in the MJC library to talk with the librarian to walk you through it, or the chat feature on the MJC homepage. 2 very useful tools. Okay, so get signed up for those and start taking those classes. All right, and so the last thing I want to talk about really quickly, essay number 2. As we're nearing the end of the course, we want to get this wrapped up by Friday. In the last 2 weeks, we're going to do a research proposal, annotated bibliography, and your research papers. As a matter of fact, I'm going to attach an annotated bibliography to the bottom of this announcement so you guys could take a preview. Okay, but as far as essay number 2, first thing we got to talk about from your last essay, you have to have a title. A title is an awesome tool. It can do a lot of work. Remember, it's the first thing your reader says. So don't put something that's useless like essay 2. Okay, give this a creative, original title that previews your argument. Something like Marginalized Kids, How Merita's Education Took Off to Outer Space. Something, give us something to work with, okay? And you'll also notice in essay number 2, the one thing I want to remind you about is that this prompt doesn't ask you to summarize the authors and their essays. I mean, it does, but it asks you to do it very briefly in the introduction. So it's not a move you're making after the introduction where you give a whole paragraph of summary like the first essay, right? Right here in the middle. And a sentence or 2. Summarize Pink and Gladwell, all 3 of the essays, tucked in right between settling the audience into the topic and putting your out there. Okay. Second thing I want you to remember is that your thesis is almost given to you, right? You're making a claim about why kids like Merita from the KIPP Academy are successful. I've given you this example. You come up with your own. Okay, KIPP students like Merita are successful because they're given resources that aren't usually available to marginalized communities. That's what this whole thing is about. That's my thesis, and it's going to reflect here, and here in the reasons. And I'm going to, in those reasons, develop paragraphs to prove that by pointing to each of these articles. Okay, and so another thing that's very important to this essay is don't use the personal I. This doesn't ask like for personal experience like the first one did. This is in the third person objective. Okay, there's no place for that in this one. You're developing these body paragraphs, this whole essay, by pointing at these three different essays. You quote them to support your body paragraphs. Use one quote per paragraph. That's enough. And remember, you'll need a works cited page, but that doesn't have to be done for this first draft. By the time you finish the final draft on Friday, I want you to create the works cited page. Depending on which of these three articles you quote, you probably should quote them all to make, you have three body paragraphs. And on Wednesday, I'm going to make a video that shows you how to create citations by hand. And so, good luck with this essay. I just wanted to point that out. Remember in your conclusion, a few of you in the last essay didn't have conclusions. You must stop arguing at some point. That is, stop engaging reasons and conclude your argument. And the way to do that is you restate your claim here, and then you say something more about this topic. You make your reader have a sense that it was worth talking about. You could do a call to action. You could ask them to reflect on it, something important, okay? And you have an experience now after we did that assignment on conclusions last week, okay? So make sure also that you reach the page limit. I won't be grading papers that are short on the page limit, okay? Make sure you get the 3.5 pages. Don't stop at 3. All right, everyone. Thanks. Remember office hours tonight from 6 to 8. If you want some tips on organizing this thing, we could talk one-on-one. All right. Thank you. I'll see you then.